Borough as a whole. Alongside the ambition to reduce its own carbon footprint, the Council will be playing a key role in working with partners to lead the Borough to reach net zero emissions by 2030. The Council will look to influence, educate and support residents and businesses to reduce their own carbon footprint through powers and activity such as using the planning process to influence how new homes are constructed. It's important to note that carbon neutral is not the same as zero emissions. It is expected that by 2030 there will still be some residual emissions from the Council's operations and that a degree of offsetting will be required. In terms of some of the financial implications that cover the Strategy Action Plan, much covers work already being undertaken or about to start. The revised budget of £189,000 for the 21-22 capital programme covers the following schemes: Gedling Country Park charge points, Civic Centre charge points, the Arnold Market solar panels, some money set aside for bee pollinator plan wildflower planting, and then tree planting projects as part of the Green Lung initiative. The 21-22 capital programme also includes £784,000 for the provision of the Green Homes grant, for which the Council is receiving external funding for installing external cladding and solar panels on properties that are low rated and energy inefficient. An qualities impact assessment has been undertaken to reflect the consultation that took place. So the reasons for recommendation is to make progress against the Council's commitment to be carbon neutral across the Borough by 2030, to ensure the views of service users, residents and stakeholders are obtained and included in the process, and to keep members updated on the progress of the carbon management strategy and action plan. So in summary, Cabinet is recommended to adopt the carbon management strategy as it is now being consulted on with residents, partners, stakeholders and community groups, note the supporting consultation information and note the equalities impact assessment accompanying the strategy and action plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Mel. Sim, do you want to say something? For people who don't know, Sim is our Climate Change Officer, the first one we've had. Welcome. I don't know whether you want to speak on this one. Your name's on the bottom of it.
Just going to say, sorry, that's a bit loud. Yes, as Climate Change Officer, obviously, I would say the strategy and the action plan are a live document in terms of it will evolve and the actions will evolve over time. So I hope that the Cabinet approve it today.
Thank you. Any other comments? Michael?
Yeah, just thank everybody who took part in the consultation and also thank the staff, Mel and Sim and others. It's a very broad piece of work by staff and elected members for bringing together what I think I said last time is an exciting and important document. Just a few things I thought in the consultation it's worth reflecting on. There's obviously some concern that we don't have the staff or the councillors to deliver this, and I think we have got to be honest about the fact that we're a far reduced set of staff than we were, 5 years ago, let alone 10 or 11 years ago. But certainly my first-hand experience in the council is that we both have councillors cross-party who are exceptionally passionate about this important issue, but we also have staff, not just those who would see it as an important part of their job description, but who are massively passionate about this area, almost irrespective of their day-to-day job in the council. So whilst we might not have the numbers, I think we have got the passion and commitment to tackle that issue. I think that's important to say. And the other thing, John, I just thought that was important that came out of the consultation as you reflect on our action plan, the actual actions, is I did think there was something for us to reflect on about language. There is a lot in the document about promote, encourage, support, facilitate. Quite rightly, we're at developmental stage. This is very early stages of the strategy and action plan. But I thought the point in the consultation from whoever it was who responded that said a little bit more should, require, will do in language was an important point. And I think we should just be mindful going forward of the more practical actions that we can actually take to make a difference, because the clock is ticking. And whilst we're ambitious about, net zero and tackling the climate emergency, time is not on our side. And, you know, I just sit here and reflect on some of what we've heard, John, in the chamber before from Amy and Ella and other inspirational young people who we hear from. Time really isn't on our side on this issue. So the more shoulds will require, you know, actual actions, the better. And we've got some fantastic groups, haven't we, in the borough? The Gedling Climate Change Group, you know, the other groups that we work with, and some fantastic assets. But overall, I think this is a fantastic piece of work, and I look forward to start seeing some of the progress that's set out. So well done for everybody in bringing it together, and thank you to those who took part in the consultation.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else? Peter?
Do we send this document to the senior schools in the borough? Because some of the youngsters now are more conscious of their environment than what people my age are. So I think it would be useful for send this document to the senior schools and let the sixth formers or the people who are more with it than we were at their time of life. So I think it's important that we make sure they know what we're doing, and we want their advice and their support for the future, because it's their world.
Thank you. I'll land that one with whoever. Help. Sim?
Yeah, I can speak
Mel.
on that, Chair. Yeah, it was circulated around the schools, but notwithstanding the fact Omicron was erupting at the time, so there was almost a state of impending lockdown coming. So we will work with the schools, and certainly Sim will engage with the schools moving into the future to make sure that both the young and the elderly are engaged with the process, and that their thoughts and their desires are also reflected as we deliver the action plan and as we review it annually moving forward.
Thanks, Mel. Henry?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to say there's huge opportunities to work with local schools because as part of the curriculum, there's the personal health and social education aspects and citizenship aspects. And also we have an excellent youth council that I know Councillor McCrossan and Councillor Fox work with. So there's lots of opportunities there to ensure schools work collaboratively with the council at looking at a carbon neutral strategy moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Isn't anybody else? I'll just before I move the recommendation, can I just ask Mel and Sim that we keep a close eye on the government announcements at the moment? I know there's a lot going off all over the place, and I keep bombarding Sim with stuff for them that I keep seeing that might be of use, but they are going to ease up on solar panels. That's all been prompted by this awful war. But they are going to ease up, and there's going to be some offers for people, and we need to be right in there, right at the start of it, not only just for ourselves as a council, for people's homes, but for business as well. So if you can keep an absolute eye on that, and I know Michael will at the LGA, as soon as we spot something, we need to get in, because we seem to be, as you know, the track record shows that we've always been missed out, even though we've put some serious bids in for things. But this is coming up. It may come up this week. Okay, thank you. So if there's no one else, I'll move the recommendation, which is on page 9. Seconded? Thank you. It is seconded. We agreed? Agreed. We're agreed. Thank you. I'm going to vacate the chair now because I need to get to another meeting. So Michael will take over that. Thank you.
I'll carry on here if... Yeah, thanks, John. Is that right, Emma? Okay, next item on the agenda then is Community Infrastructure Levy, non-parish funding consultation response and funding decision. Councillor Hollings was declared an interest, so just for the interest of anybody watching or listening to the item, she is leaving the room for the purposes of this item, and I think it's going to be presented by our SIL Officer Lewis. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Deputy. The report starting on page 81 of the agenda pack seeks approval from Cabinet to utilise the SIL non-parish neighbourhood funding towards the nominated projects which have been deemed most suitable and in accordance with the SIL regulations. As you may recall, on the 13th of December 2021, a report was presented to Cabinet seeking approval to undertake a 4-week public consultation in relation to 2 projects that had been nominated for the SIL non-parish funding awards. The 2 projects, LIS 0001, the footpath extension at Willow Park, Gedling, and LIS 0002, the internal works and alterations at Netherfield Forum Children, Young People and Families Hub, had been assessed and were considered appropriate for the SIL Neighbourhood Funding Awards in accordance with Regulation 59F of the SIL Regs. Following approval by Cabinet to undertake that 4-week public consultation, stakeholders and local residents were consulted, on the shortlist of projects, and that was commenced on the 10th of January 2022 and ended on the 7th of February 2022. In total, 10 representations were received in response to the consultation, and these representations are detailed in Appendix 1 of the report, along with the relevant officer responses. In summary, project LIS-1, the footpath extension of Willow Park, received 5 letters of support, 4 neutral representations and 1 letter of objection. LIS-2, the internal works at the Netherfield Forum, received 4 letters of support, 5 neutral representations and no objections. Whilst I'm mindful of the objection which was received in relation to LIS-1, this objection simply states that other community projects were considered to be more suitable of SIL non-parish funding. However, in this instance, no other projects were submitted prior to the deadline of the 31st of August 2021 for this round of awards, and therefore I cannot consider any of these projects at this time. I've been in contact with the organisation body that submitted this objection and have recommended that they formally submit any future projects through the Gedling Borough Council's SIL webpage so that they may be formally considered in the future. Having taken all these comments into consideration, it's my recommendation that both projects LIS-1 and LIS-2 are appropriate and should be granted the SIL non-parish for neighbourhood funding awards. And the recommendation is therefore that Cabinet approve the use of up to £25,000 for the footpath extension at Willow Park, Gaddling, and the use of up to £55,760 for LIS2, the internal works and alterations at Netherfield Forum Children, Young Peoples and Family Hub. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lewis. Most helpful. Any comments or questions in terms of this report? I mean, just from my perspective, Lewis, I'd support what you said. These are 2 fantastic projects. The footpath there and accessibility at the Willow Lane end of Willow Park, in wet weather, for anybody who's tried to access that, for particularly people with disabilities, but also perhaps parents who might have pushchairs, was incredibly difficult, and this will clearly make a huge difference. So from an equalities perspective, but also from improving the local environment there, I think it's a very positive project. I would just also say on the record very clearly on behalf of the Council and on behalf of the Cabinet to the individual who objected to this project that the Gedling Youth and Community Hub, which is referenced as being one of those other projects, is a really important project. This Council sees it as an important project and it will continue to support it in any way, shape or form it can. And like you, I would encourage the individual who pointed out that project is also taking place in the local community to be forthcoming at the next opportunity, earliest opportunity through this route, and I'm sure the Cabinet will give and you will give that application a fair hearing. But certainly that project's doing good work, but it shouldn't detract from this project. It's not an either or. And also there's some fantastic work going on at the Netherfield Forum and the work that they're doing down there with the Young People and Children and Families Hub, and I think the money for these alterations will make a significant difference. So I'm quite proud to move the recommendation. Somebody happy to second? Seconded by Councillor Ellis. Are people happy to approve? Yep, agreed unanimously. Thank you, Lewis. Does somebody want to let Councillor Hollingsworth know that she can come back in? Thanks, Lewis. Welcome back, Councillor Hollingsworth. You'll be pleased to know that both applications unanimously agreed, so well done for putting the application in. Hopefully it'll make a real difference.
Most grateful, and I know the Friends of the Parks will be very pleased, as will the Netherfield Forum. Thank you very much.
Okay, item 6, our last substantive item on the agenda is the Gedling Plan Performance Indicators 2022-23, and I think this is going to be introduced by Alison.
That's right, thank you, Chair. Yes, so this report presents the proposed performance indicators which will measure our progress with the delivery of the Gedling plan for the coming year. The current performance indicators have been reviewed and updated by a senior leadership team, and the proposed suite of indicators and targets for 22-23 are set out in Appendix 1. These include some minor changes from the current year's performance indicators, with the addition of some new indicators as detailed in paragraph 2.3 of the report. And they include, first of all, the number of rented households with below the minimum legal standard health and safety hazards that have been remediated following the council's intervention. And so that's a new indicator that's linked to our selective licensing work. And then a further 2 indicators related to our commercial waste services of trade and garden waste. We aim at achieving some further growth in those areas. You'll recall that since August of 2020, some of our targets were changed to tracking only due to the impact of COVID-19, and some of those are now proposed to be returned to measured targets, while some do continue to be retained as tracking because of the ongoing impacts that are still being felt in some areas. Some tracking measures are also included that are those that are not directly within the control of the council, but are monitored because they influence the development of our service plans. Targets have generally been maintained for the final year of the Gedling plan, but some indicators have been increased to drive continuing improvements, and these are listed in paragraph 2.4 of the report. There is one performance indicator that is proposed for reduction, and that is the average time to process a housing benefit change in circumstances. Bear with me, that's my phone ringing. Just get rid of that. Apologies. Okay, that's gone. I wonder who that was. Yeah, so that's housing benefit
It's the
change.
Treasury, Alison, giving you some more money.
They're putting the interest rates up, isn't it? It would be nice if they bought us some more money, wouldn't it? So that's the reduction is the one, the average time to process a housing benefit change in circumstances. That is a minor change, increasing the number of days from 4 to 5, and that is required due to some agreed structure changes, but please be assured that the target does remain in the upper quartile of performance when benchmarked with other local authorities. The average time to process new housing benefit claims remains the same as previously, and current performance is actually exceeding the target. So as always, once approved, the progress will be reported to Cabinet and Overview and Scrutiny Committee on a quarterly basis, and the results will also be published on the Council's website as usual. So I'll leave it there, Chair. The recommendations are on page 95.
Thank you, Alison. Any comments or questions in terms of this report? No? Really pleasing to see colleagues in comms should be commended. That stretch and increase in not only social media posts, but also people signing up to keep me posted, which is an important route for people to be informed, I think is important, and stretching our target around the number of affordable homes that's being delivered because we're continually outperforming our target, I think is critical, given the fact that people need affordable roofs over their head, and also, clearly both planning and public protection should be commended for the work around major planning applications, but also the percentage of food premises that are scoring 4 or 5 in the food health and safety rating scheme, and stretching that target, I think is good. Good for the borough and good for the local economy. And even though we're agreeing to reduce the average time to process housing benefit claims changing circumstances, it would still be a target that would secure an improvement on the current circumstances. So again, I don't see that as a negative either. So I'll move the recommendation, which is that the performance indicators, targets and trackers as set out in Appendix 1 to be approved 2022-23. Somebody happy to second? Yeah, seconded. Agreed. That's agreed unanimously. Thank you, Alison. And the final item on the agenda is any other items the Chair considers urgent. There are no other items I consider urgent, but Gedling Borough Council wishes all those here in the borough and all those around the United Kingdom who are celebrating a very happy St Patrick's Day, and what a gorgeous day it is for it as well. And I'll close the meeting. Thank you.